Get along now?
With her?
Yeah.
Or the judge? Haven't talked to her in 12 years.
And the children?
Oh, really?
Children, they call
Oh,
me.
the big
I thought that was a woman.
They know what's going on.
They really like it.
Good for you for showing your heart.
When he goes to the bar, when they come, their friends, they come and sit with him.
Nice, eh?
They don't sit with their friends, they sit with him.
They'll go by, that's why.
Well, that could be some of
The old man, we'll sit over here and wander up at the old man's table for a while before we gotta
Because he
go.
knows.
Whatever it is, you're very blessed.
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately, money is the wedge between our minds and our hearts.
I realized long ago that the settlement issue, you know, to settle is to get it done. Don't argue with it, but I didn't know any of this then.
Contentious versus non-contentious.
Ecumenical.
Thank you.
Or
But he has a life. For 10 years, he has a life.
Yeah.
Other people who fight it don't have a life. He does. And our little Gilligan said, he had trouble. Well,
Yeah.
you didn't listen, and he's fighting it tooth and nail.
I think his quote is when he points at me and says, "He gave me the best advice I never took."
Well, it sounds like you're getting yourself a lawyer instead, aren't you?
But that's what it's all about, is to forgive and settle.
Well, I think there's a distinction here too. Like, they're not bringing these things frivolously, okay? Like, when I was learning commercial process, when there's money, there's obviously going to be a transaction of substance for settlement, both substance on both sides, the goods versus the settlement. But when there's no money, everything's operating in debt. There's a commercial process, it's called lawful justification for the creation of new money.
Are you solvent or insolvent is what I just heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, if there's no money, what's the substance? That's exactly right. You're the corpus of the estate.
Here, Mac, you want me to give you some substance?
Well, that's the thing. But the thing is that it's all based on the surety. The birth certificate is a valuable security based on substance. You're the substance. So it's you, and it's your assets.
Your signature creates.
Well, yeah, the estate, yeah, the
Substance
the
over
real
form.
and personal property, and more important, because of the way the system is set up, is your ability to contract and your credit, because you can sign and create this new fictional money.
Yeah.
So if there's a transaction that they're doing either in court or wherever,
Yeah.
its lawful justification for the creation of new money is the claim against some party, against some
Where's
state.
that document from the Queen with the stamps on it and her signature, or a signature from her people?
Representative.
That's
Or
a substance document. It's got stamps on it and it's got a signature across the stamp.
Yeah, it's a
Yippee-ki-yo,
proclamation.
there it
A
is.
proclamation is a decree nasi.
That's what these guys sent out, right?
Excuse me?
That's what these guys sent out, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a copy of that on the
Yeah.
email there.
Was
Public policy contract number.
Yeah, I looked that over.
And it's an R. It's
RW number,
Yeah, it's a Canada Post.
UPU number.
I'm sorry, like, where did this document come from? Was this part of somebody's executive process?
I think it was. I think I got it out of Vernon
It's the
2.
Vernon groups, yeah.
Yeah. Remember Vernon 1 we were trying to get in, it didn't show up in the Dropbox, so we had somebody put in one, title it Vernon 2, and somehow we got it back to each other. We're using the Dropbox thing, yeah.
So this is the part of
It's
their
part of the
process?
Vernon, I believe. Yeah.
Let's see for a second.
Addendum, the Queen
Yeah,
Her
must be.
Majesty Elizabeth II
Because he's using the
proclamation,
same.
defender of faith.
Defender of the faith.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, these are
Same bar on the
Jonathan's.
top.
Yeah, these are
Jonathan's paperwork?
All
So
right.
was this the original document that went in that he's creating jointly to, or what?
My guess is yes, and I just noticed the date, 28th day of March, '05. We were just talking about '05.
What date is on those for?
Then these are all the signatories.
8?
Oh, yeah, it's got
And
all,
we're 11th.
all the countries.
We're 11th on there.
Yeah, March 28th, 2005. Take notice.
Oh, yeah, up in here, yeah.
Okay, so these are earlier documents, because he went back to.
But it's an ancillary notice when you say early. This is an ancillary treaty.
Yeah. That's
Under this treaty, I think you and I have no problem.
Well, because we're allies.
Which is what I was leading up to us down Gord earlier, when he was telling us about that, their letter that they sent out going over it. All the different points, covered a few points here and there. The basic point that they covered and the most important point was that they claimed ally of Her Majesty the Queen.
Yep,
That's it, right there, that's
no argument.
That's it.
I'm working for you, where's my check?
Well, the Queen
You're late.
operates outside
Why
of
did we
fiction.
get Mexico?
Well, if you're her ally, then you're her friend.
I didn't hear the question, Ken, please.
Well, US and Mexico were down here.
Canada's taking its place. NAU. Canada is a very valuable,
That's it.
Right, big time.
because it holds what?
North American
Just
wasteland.
about as much as, if not
And
more than Iraq.
reserves.
Yeah, that's just a point when you talk about waste management, because you know the legal description of Canada, right? North American wastelands.
Yes. Canadian Shield was basically, let's dump our nuclear waste down there. We can get paid for that.
So if you wonder why they're fucking up, you know, the country's
We'll
like
just flush it under the Shield to Mexico. Grand will take care of it, filter it as she has for the longest of time.
And Canada is a trust territory of the United States.
Well, that's what I was going to get to as well. The United Nations, Canada, are now trust territories, defined as trust territories.
Trust
why
territories.
do you think that is? Because they don't own the land. Who
Yeah.
does? The Indians, who still on their land.
And that's why it's all been put in reserve and treaties release money. What is a U?
Yes, that's right. They're in
PM.
trust.
When you purchase insurance, can you get under premium coverage insurance? Like an extra type of insurance? If I go into the States, I add on an insurance policy, so that if somebody does injure me, that policy pays out the injury that that individual caused me. Now they make that individual liable to reimburse them.
Extended coverage.
Yes. That's when I pulled in my SIN number to cover the issue. Extended coverage. Excuse me.
You mentioned the second to kill clause.
Yes, it is a backroom policy of how these insurances work. If you don't use it to pay off an issue, you've entitled them to pay themselves off by cashing out the issue.
See,
You've
so
abandoned it.
really, what you're doing is you're saying that because I'm not coming forward as the executor, they're simply gonna have to use the extended coverage to settle it out of your account for you.
Yes.
And because for their purposes, it's better for the government if you don't know, and they can do it on your behalf,
Back to the cappers for
Pocket
public
a few
interest.
bucks themselves.
and then they can keep
Commissions.
the waste.
Managing it.
Yeah, because then no executor has come forward for an audit, the waste automatically is theirs.
Yes. By our abandoned.
That's cheap.
How many years back?
cheap.
How many
Nice.
years back is it?
Exactly.
Non-pro tunc to the beginning.
Oh,
I think it's 7
Every
years
issue.
before,
Where,
like.
Who's the judge here?
who's the,
Who's the judge here?
If you're in the executive, you are.
It's knock pro tunk
to the beginning?
to the beginning.
You want it over with.
6 days after you're born.
You want it over with as soon as possible. If not, it's
Uh-huh.
running against you. But until you're dead, you have the option to reverse it.
Reversion.
So that's why you need the clerk. of
They
court
say
for
some
the
things don't
reversionary
apply.
process.
Sometimes when they say, don't apply. Only applies in their world.
Yeah, but once it's coming out of their world and you got notice, you have to acknowledge and
You
rebut.
Yeah. Rebut.
But commerce, there's no time. There's
The
certain-
interest is running. You're right about no time. You can come to live in the ledgers at any time and go back to your dead life anytime.
Mhm. But they'll put deadline, some they'll try to trick you, but they don't, but they're going back to the beginning too.
It's just the running of the interest.
Yeah.
Add on. We're coming into the juncture of going from what used to be to what we want.
Right.
Does this say non-financial issues?
That's what I used to tell
New non-financial issues. Are we dealing with financial issues here, anybody?
Not really.
Not at all. If there ain't no money, are they non-financial?
Well, how can it be financial?
And there is no money.
But
So there we go back to the question of solvency versus insolvency, because you're under bankruptcy and the judge wants to know if you can afford to pay it or not.
And it's all
Excuse me, Tim.
accounting. Nope.
Bless you.
that's why they cannot come with the claim. When you ask them, is there any matter you're gonna claim, nobody will stand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I often do when I get witnesses that are coming against me on the stand, I go, I listen to their story, ask them a few questions. The last one I usually close up with is, do you have a personal problem with me? Can they say yes?
No, they can't.
Oh, so that sort of covers everything, doesn't it?
They're to sit there like they glue your mouth shut.
Unless you punch the guy, then he's got an issue and injury.
Is it just
That's a
your
common
point
law
of
claim.
perspective that perceives me as
Or right.
offensive?
Or run. They'll leave.
There's so many ways to grab a ball.
Yeah.
How does what I believe or what you believe affect my salvation or your salvation? And if you're so concerned with about what I believe, you must not be very secure in what you believe, or you must think a lot of me.
Nice. The only way you can create
Okay.
inferiority is to act
Yeah, we're just-
superior.
Yeah.
I'll take
We're
the
in
inferior
Yeah, so,
under superiority.
okay.
Humble
Or
humility.
are you gonna be home or are you going out?
Well, you gotta go-
You're right, I'm wrong. How can
Okay,
I
sounds
make
great.
it better?
Yeah. How can I?
Okay, see ya.
Like, I said that years ago, like when they come, I do that in snowmobile. So I snowmobile in Alberta here, and we take off, we just go cross country. And we run into farmers all the time. They come out and they get rammy sometimes. They're on my land, and blah, blah, blah. And I always do the same thing. I turn the sled off and I say, peace and goodwill to you too, brother. Please forgive me for passing on God's land.
Exactly.
And 9 times out of 10, they look at me, roll out the window and drive away.
I'm smoking a fatty in a van, buddies and that. Cop comes up, he's in a uniform. Bellman! Garand. How you doing? Boys, what are you doing here? Staying out of trouble. Come here, I gotta show you something. I got a T5008 for him in hand. I step outside, he's this close. So next time you go to give me a ticket or anything, I'll take that check and you gotta do all this paperwork. It's only 30 pages. And you guys love paperwork, don't you? You know I don't give out tickets. He walks away. Are you smoking on duty? I do the best at offering generosity and,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what I-
Secondhand
that's what
smoke.
I-
Okay.
They get rammed, I ask them, well, I don't know what the nature of your injury is, but how can I restore you, brother?
That is all. That
How
is
can I
heaven.
restore you?
That is all.
And
Restitution.
they can't come up with the damage. The last guy stopped me on the highway, he blocked my sled and everything, and I said, well, what is the nature of your injury? And he's going, well, that's not the point. I go, well, I kind of think it is the point. So what is the nature of your injury? How can I restore you? I'll tell you what, I'll give you my name and address, and you send me your bill.
Please do.
And so I gave him, he said, well, you write it down. I said, well, I'm kind of standing on the snowmobile in the middle of the highway. I said, you remember it. Here's my name, here's my address, send me your bill, I'll take care of it. He nodded his head and jumped in his car. I haven't got no bill yet because I know what happened. He sat down and he started realizing, how do I assess this? Where's the assessment?
Actually, pretty simple semantics. In his rage, he had his mind trail track. When you at peace, that fucks up that signal pretty good.
Yeah.
I want you to come to me.
Yeah.
I want you.
Actually, what everything we were talking about here yesterday, I was thinking, because I've been meaning, I know where he lives now. Because I saw him go drive to his yard now, so I want to go and see him.
Take a friend.
And yeah,
Do not enter his yard.
yeah, no, I'm going to take a witness and
Cameras are often the best witnesses too.
No shit.
Because your word is your
but I
word.
want to go see him and you know what I'd like to do is get him to sue me.
Please.
I need some cash.
Yeah.
I ordered, I ordered,
you said you're gonna send me a bill.
Yeah.
Where is it? This is a short version of where we are. These are potent understandings. It just notes on terms, burden of proof, common law, competence and compellability, cooperation, doctrine of precedent, issue estoppel, hearsay rule, parole evidence, presumption, probative. Res gestae, we touched that one quickly. And res justicata,
Res judicata.
yeah.
Oh, get to photo.
It has been
This
decided.
one is something, so you can't come at me again
Yeah.
with the same issue.
An issue of estoppel should come from the settlement,
Yes,
so, right then and there,
yes,
they have to actually rebut. It's
yes.
the issue
I
of
noticed the
estoppel is
crowd's moving.
794.
Perhaps we want to settle an agreement for lunch or something?
Well, I think it's already settled, so.
Let's set a return